All right.
All right then.
So, I want to ask you things about music, all right?
The music?
Yeah.
Okay.
First of all, what's an early moment that you remember where you felt the power of music, the transfiguring power of music, the transforming power of music, the inspiring power of music, where you realized what a huge force this is, either in life, in your life, in society, whatever?
Wow, that's a good one. It's such a big question. Well, I remember seeing the Beatles on the Ed Sullivan Show, and just how big the Beatles were. They were just this big, huge phenomenon. They were everywhere on TV and everything, and there was a lot of build-up to it for a little kid watching it on TV. It was the Ed Sullivan Show, 1964, so I was, you know, a little shaver, about 4 years old. And it was kind of like you got to see them behind the mask, because there was all this hype and all this build-up, and then you see them, and the big Klieg lights are shining off their face, and you see the grease, like their faces are shiny, so either they didn't have enough time for makeup, or they didn't put on enough makeup. And there were these powerful figures playing, and yet they were human at the same time. That, and listening to a lot of pop radio, protest songs, folk songs, and how people, college students, would make a big deal about it, how they talk about how important it all was. So you thought, okay, there must be something to that. So very early, 4 or 5 years old, 6 years old, something like that.
What about concerts you've seen, where a peak experience participating in live music as a spectator?
As a spectator, well, 1976 Beach Boys concert, Montreal Forum.
Was that the one with the cannon at the end?
Don't remember that, but they were playing at the Montreal Forum, and for one of the encores they did Good Vibrations. And I remember looking to my left and seeing my friend Brian, who was a very no-nonsense guy and would not get caught up in anything. He had a very, very practical sense of things. And looking around, and he's just caught up, and he's singing, "Gotta keep those loving good vibrations." I thought, wow, if they can get to him, they can get to anybody. This is really amazing. And then in 1979 concert with a guy named Baldy at a little place called the Prêtre l'Enchaîné in Montreal, which is this converted Victorian house. And at the end of the show, we're all clapping for him to come back out, and it's just him and I think maybe somebody else. And we're going encore, 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 and we're doing this for like 2 or 3 minutes. And this guy comes out of nowhere and lines himself up at the bar and claps along going, "Encore, encore, encore," and it's Valdi himself, so he's having a great little bit of fun there. He's pulling himself back from the like being the object, I guess, pulling himself back from the object, and ready to reinsert himself again, but he's looking at it subjectively, and I thought that was a great little bit of fun.
What do you think is the best song or the best piece of pop music you've ever heard?
Oh boy, I don't know.
Now, the best could mean most personally significant, the best could mean most technically proficient, the best could mean most perfectly recorded, the best could mean had most cultural impact. Whatever best could be, what's the best? What's the best song from the 60s, or what's the best song from the 20th century?
I don't know, there's so many of them.
Well, what is a best?
A best? Well, a really good one. Just from what people have said about it and listening to it, a lot of Brian Wilson's work, the stuff he wrote. Let's see, Good Vibrations. I read that he said that song was a gift from God. So if a guy like he can say something like that, and I really respect his stuff, because he's written some stuff I really, really like, and not a lot of it is like the hit stuff, you know, it's just this other stuff that wasn't commercially popular. Maybe there seemed to be a period, maybe it's me, right at the end of the 60s, 70s, 71, when a lot of, sort of groundbreaking landmark type albums came out. Madman Across the Water, the kind of things that your older brothers and sisters would have. And you go to other people's places and they have those albums too. That, and Sticky Fingers, and Carole King's Tapestry, like the huge, huge, huge sellers. It's hard to say because there have been so many different periods in music. It goes up, it goes down, and every generation can find something beautiful and say, this is the greatest thing. These days, I find myself developing a really great appreciation for older songs. When I say older, I mean like 20s, 30s, 40s, like, Hoagy Carmichael stuff, for instance, I was listening to today. Or, not Bessie Smith, singer Billie Holiday, that kind of thing. All that stuff. Or, man, earlier stuff than that. Stuff that was recorded on like one track, like Jelly Roll Morton, stuff like that. So there's really a lot. It's really, really a lot. I can't pick and choose and say one defining song.
All right. Final question is, what is the universal impact of music? What is its power? What is its healing power, if any? And what would we be if we didn't have that?
We'd be, I don't know, some sort of very, very simple sort of animal that doesn't make any sort of sound and hasn't developed a way to communicate to other animals in some way, shape, or form. I mean, birds chirp and they're communicating. And you can find out that those are actually probably notes. Maybe it's a C, maybe it's a G, or something like that. It's part of the evolutionary process. We'd have to communicate that. And music is a really great way to do it because it doesn't require knowledge of any language. It's just a sound, and there's so much in the sound all by itself that can speak to you on different levels, no matter what language you speak. The sound of something, and even the sounds themselves, convey a message on how they're created. Electronic sounds as opposed to organic, warmer sounds, that cold sound of metal and electronic music as opposed to the warm sound of drums and acoustic instruments, which I tend to prefer myself, I guess. So we created music naturally, or we developed music, or we harnessed it. It's a force like sun or water or something, and we use it. We ride on it, like taming some animal or some force of nature. It's there, always has been. It'll be there after us.
Thank you.
You're welcome.